Broadcasting alive from the Green Room Studios in Nashville, Tennessee, it's the At Home Show with Josh Carey and David Bates, celebrating 25 years of home and garden wisdom. Without further ado, your hosts, Josh Carey and David Bates.
Hello and welcome in, everybody. It's Saturday morning. You know what time it is? It's 8 o'clock. It means it's time for the At Home Show. Good morning, David Bates.
And good morning to you, Josh. I know it's time for the wind to stop blowing.
Well, it quit finally. It was a little spooky around Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky and northern Alabama and the Cumberland Plateau and 3810 Whites Creek Pike.
Yesterday was a difficult day for everyone in the Middle Tennessee area, whether you're in, pretty much the entire southeast.
Yes.
But certainly we were not excluded from that, and we'll take a quick look at the weather here.
Quickly.
And because we're going to move on to better weather conditions. Matter of fact, today is going to be pretty nice, partly cloudy, 62 degrees here in the Music City, and a very mild overnight low, 37 degrees. It's seasonable, as a matter of fact. We need to be having these cooler temperatures. We don't want to see things get too advanced.
Too quick.
And I know that goes against what everyone else is hoping for, but trust me on this one. We need for spring to take its time getting here. Sunday is going to be a beautiful day, mostly sunny, 70 degrees, 49 for the overnight low, 78 on Monday, 52 for the low, Tuesday, 70 and 44. Then we cool back down and we move kind of into a rainy pattern. Hopefully nothing severe like we dealt with yesterday and the days preceding. 56 Wednesday, 57 Thursday, 67 Friday, 57 on Saturday. And there are showers and rain throughout. And I'll give you a quick check of the radar here to let you know that, well, all of that stuff, this is that stuff we were dealing with yesterday is all moved out into the Atlantic and up into the Northeast, and pretty much have
snowing in
weather conditions that are pretty nice right now. So we'll take it and kind of give you a little refresh on what we've done precipitation wise. We have added a couple of inches of rain in the last week. 10.91 for the year, actually an inch and a half almost this month. So that's pretty much for the week as well.
You're showing the forsythia bar graph, though. I mean, so.
Yes.
All right.
And although today's high has been 17.9, that was right after midnight. Yesterday, we had 52 mile an hour high winds here at Bates Nursery, and we've got some older greenhouse units that are evidence of that. We've got some covers torn off, but fortunately those are on older structures that just have soils and that kind of thing on it. Nothing on our new construction or on our plant material gratefully got damaged. And but it was a harrowing day watching the wind whip and just wondering when something is going to cut loose. Fortunately, it did not. So
I had a neighbor.
We've got some cleanup to do down back, but all is good.
Setting up a couple things. Everything else is great. I mean, it looks good. You know, another safe place that you might be, folks, if they're out and about, might do today. You know what?
I'm thinking a lot of garden shows going on.
Yeah, we want to thank Randall Lance for coming into the Green Room studio last week and telling us all about it. The choo-choo trains and the alpacas and the pretty flowers and everything else that's going to be out there. So if you lost something in the yard yesterday, that might be a good place to start doing your research.
He didn't mention they were having coatis.
Excuse me?
Coatis are like a raccoon type animal.
Oh.
Recently I was in, I had not ever seen one before, but I saw one in Costa Rica a few weeks ago. So that was pretty interesting. It's a very docile animal, just walked right in front of me like I was never tempted to pet it, however. I had been warned.
Go ahead.
But it's a cool looking animal. So
FAFO, man. Right? Go ahead.
So it was good. It was good to meet Kay and Jude, the winners of our giveaway.
Yes.
They picked up their tickets. We hope you have a great time, and all our other ticket winners, just make sure you show up at the door and your name is out on the will call list.
Go early. I think they open at 9 this morning. So
they do.
Well, let's go ahead and welcome in.
Who is that voice?
The balance of our cast We've got Caroline Gant, Austin Lowen. Welcome in, guys.
Good morning.
And
Good morning.
as I understood in our pre-broadcast little tune-up, we have a plethora of questions, way more than we can possibly get to. So what
they
we're
didn't
going
have
to
power, so
what we're going to basically do is this: there's a lot of questions concerning freeze damage. Now, Tyler, I sent you a picture. I don't know if you've got a way to pass that around where we can get it up on the screen or not, but we've got a lot of questions. Probably the majority of them are about freeze damage, how to do what and when and all of that. And understandably, people are concerned about that. So we're going to kind of cover those all in one segment. But if you like, we'll go on to other things and then we'll come back to it and give Tyler a chance to get that photo up. It kind of shows a point that I'm hoping to make. And you did a video this week, also did a great job of that. So Caroline, how are you this morning?
Doing great. Didn't have power last night or this morning, but I'm here.
But you got here on time. We appreciate that.
Yes, I did.
I'm in the same boat. I've got no power at my house.
It's fun. Chapmansboro, Tennessee is dark right now.
It is. But hey, let's talk real quick about something I saw yesterday for the first time to give y'all a little bit of hope. Okay, I saw my very first picture of a guest that came in who had some freeze damage to a number of her plants. But the last picture she showed me was of one of her laurels, and it looked just like an autoleucon laurel that had mostly defoliated. But I saw green growth from the roots. So I don't know if laurels are coming back from the stems yet. We're still kind of waiting on that. But I will say they were pushing from the ground.
Well, as a coincidence, that actually is the photograph I have. I've sent Tyler, so hopefully he's going to be able to get that up. But this does not show it coming from the roots. This is coming from well up the plant. The plant appears at first glance to be just all dead wood. Interestingly, I don't know if you can zoom in very close. You can see some green leaf buds starting to see them pushing out right there. So that's evidence that they are indeed coming out. And that plant looks really rough. So you might think, well, this is just dead. Oh, not so fast. We've got evidence of new growth coming out right there. So that's the indication that we're trying to get people to be mindful of and to hold off on doing something rash like digging them out. Let's give these things a chance to come back out. That's what part of what being a gardener is all about, is trying to manage what you've got. Not everything is an easy proposition in gardening, and certainly when you have severe freeze damage, it is one of those areas that we've been preaching patience all winter long, and now that we are right on the threshold of spring, the evidence is beginning to show forth. And of course, the video that you did this past week on Blue Atlas Cedar was also really well done. Did you want to cue that one up, Tyler? And can you do that one? And let's show that one out. And it does a great job of showing how that you can, as a conifer, and this is not a deciduous conifer normally. They lost every needle on them, got really burnt, and yet foliage still started to crack buds and push out all the way out to the tip. So many times things are not as desperate or as bad as they first appear.
Yes, I'm queuing that up right now.
You know what I think I've lost in our yard?
What?
Liriope, for all things.
No,
that's not possible.
Not possible?
Impossible. They look bad. Liriope looks bad right now. Monkey grass is what we're talking about.
Right, but I don't know, guys. I mean,
it's
unlikely as much as you might think.
All right, y'all. Blue Atlas Cedar this year.
I hear Austin.
There's me.
Austin just took off on me.
He did.
Okay.
He's a fast talker at times.
He is.
Yes, he is.
All right. One moment. Austin,
here we go.
Talk about your landscape for a second. What you got going on?
Well.
Talk about those boxwoods.
Yeah.
My dwarf boxwoods out in front look horrible. Awful. Just so bad. We did a poll on the Instagram to see if how many people thought my boxwoods were coming back and how many thought they were dead. And more people still think they're coming back than dead. I'm still not. I don't know. I'm right on the fence. They look really, really bad. The video we're about to show is about my blue atlas cedar, like David was just talking about, and it lost pretty much now almost every single needle. But there's growth.
And it's ready to go.
It's ready to go. Let's see it.
That's right.
All right, y'all. Blue atlas cedar this year got torched. We had the polar freeze, and they look horrible. So mine in my yard looks very bad. All the needles are brown, like 80% of them dropped off. But there is signs of life. So get in here and look at these buds. So everything that's evergreen cracks from new buds in the spring. So look at all these buds. Every single one that's lined up on the stem right there. And what I can see is that they've got still some good color to them. So I don't think that they are bad. The other good sign is that, look, you can get in here and see just the littlest touch of green right there. So that makes me happy. Let's not freak out about blue atlas cedar. I think they're coming back just fine, and it's going to flush pretty real soon.
Very nice.
There you go.
Boom.
I got a
There
question.
You
Go ahead.
What's the plan behind with Austin behind you there? Is that a what is that growing in the near the driveway there?
Oh, you're talking about.
In Austin's yard?
Yeah, in Austin's yard.
Behind me?
Yeah.
I think it had shot to your golden juniper. Are you talking about the video clip that came up
Just now.
right at the end? Yeah.
That was the little spreading juniper called all gold juniper.
I've got
Which-
some too.
They're great.
That was a worth a grow, wasn't it?
That was worth a grow. Yeah, they're,
Mine have
they
looked
are worth a grow.
fantastic this whole winter.
Yes, mine
Great.
too.
Okay, so we better get on with the questions.
Indeed.
We better.
Well, we're not
All
going to
right.
get through them.
Here
so
we go.
let's
We're
do
going to
it.
start strong with bulbs and flowers because we did theme that in the studio today. If you notice in front of everybody, there's flowering plants all over.
You
Annuals
see
are
the
coming
color again.
Can I plant elephant ear bulbs yet? I would wait until it warms up a little bit more because with how warm the weather is, they will probably start pushing pretty quickly. And then if we do get a cold snap, which we certainly will, it will damage that plant. Probably won't kill it unless it gets super cold, but I usually wait until after tax day. So when we start putting out warm veggies, or in my case, about Mother's Day time. So elephant ear, cannas, stuff like that that are more tropical and more tender. I wait until a couple more months until I stick those out.
Yeah, you don't really gain anything until the soil actually warms up
Right.
anyway. They're just going to sit there.
They're going to hang out. And another bulb question. Bought some forest hyacinth and tulips. Can I plant in the ground now after last frost?
Those are two you typically would have planted last fall to get them to come up. Like I actually took a picture this morning of my tulips. It's sending up a little flower stalk, which is cool. But yeah, I planted them last fall. Those are two you typically plant in the fall. I mean, I guess you could probably do them now. They'll still probably come up. It'll just be later, I guess.
I got some daffodils for Easter from my mom that were already up in a pot and blooming, and I did put them in the ground kind of later in the spring, probably more like April, and they were fine.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine and they'll live. I would assume they would still bloom.
Mine didn't bloom.
Yeah. Well, I've got the missus did her normal fall cleanup, and she dug up a couple of daylilies, and for whatever reason or another, that pile of brush never made it to the brush pile. So I cleaned it up the other day, and I found these bulbs. I put them in a pot. I'm just going to see what happens with them because it looked like they were trying to root into the top of the ground. So
Probably, if it's a daylily. I mean, Mama's got daylilies at her house. They're already up probably 6-8 inches.
Wow.
I mean,
Really?
they're already up.
Oh, mine are up too. I don't know why I was so shocked. I was like,
daylilies
wow.
daylilies are quick to come up.
Mine are like
Very
green
cool.
patches all over my garden bed
Yeah,
right
they
now.
can kind of take over.
We got a dahlia question.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
someone in
Yeah.
this room loves dahlias.
Dahlias.
Do we need to remove and replant dahlia bulbs in Middle Tennessee every season?
Typically, yes. To be safe, yes. You don't always have to. There are some really hardy dahlias, and if you've got them like in the city in a protected spot, you could maybe get lucky to where they'll kind of perennialize. But we don't recommend that. We recommend you lift them up in the fall, put them in a paper bag, store them, in a shed or something somewhere where it's kind of cool, and then replant them in the spring. And we've got dahlia bulbs now, similar to what Caroline said with the elephant ear. We're probably not going to quite plant them yet, just in case. But we do have them, and they're ready to go. That's a spring bulb, so we are going to do that every year just to be on the safe side.
they're not inexpensive bulbs either.
No, they're
No.
pretty
No.
expensive. I mean, they're worth it. They're worth every penny.
And this was one of those winters where that if you didn't dig them up,
they gone.
You're going to be planting again with new bulbs.
Yeah.
As moist as the ground is. Yeah.
As moist as that's another problem is with those spring bulbs. That's another reason why not to plant kind of now, because if they don't come up and start sending out like dahlias and elephant ears are very thirsty plants during the growing season for sure. But whenever they don't have any leaves to take up that moisture, they can sit in that moist soil that we have here in February and March, and they'll typically rot. So that's why we kind of wait a little bit as well.
All right, so speaking of pretty flowers and pretty things, we got a fun question this morning.
Oh, Lord.
Is Austin as pretty in person as he is on the show?
No. I look way better on
So
camera.
is it the lighting and cameras that make you look pretty, and in real person you don't look the same?
Who
Is that
asked
what you
this
were saying?
question?
He smells better
He's
on
guessing with
TV.
me.
I'm not giving it away. I don't recognize the name.
I will say you'll like his eyes in person.
Well,
Yeah.
come in and see me and you tell me for yourself.
Yes, we'll take a poll on the internet.
No.
How about that? No, we won't. I'm just kidding. Or
Facebook
maybe
is
we
looking a
will.
little trippy this morning, by the way, folks.
I'm just seeing that right now. It's looking like we're having some connection errors.
Yep,
so we
so-
might not actually be live at the moment, but
Bear with us,
But we're
folks.
still having fun.
yeah.
And that's what's important.
We're still answering all the questions. We got 37 questions.
and to be sure, we had power outage here
Yes.
until, what was it, about 8:30 or 9 o'clock last night.
It was 20:30, I think, when I saw it. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
it looks like our connection is going up and down at the moment.
Okay.
So
Let's talk
be it.
about sweet peas then while we're talking about connection.
Okay, sweet
Is
pea.
it a good is it a good time to start sweet pea seeds? We did talk about this, I think, the last 2 weeks.
We have. This
It's a
is a big
trending
topic.
plant right now.
It is. And yes, it needs to be planted. They come up early. All peas typically come up early. They can germinate in cooler temperatures. And this weather is actually about perfect. For sweet peas. So we need to get them dropped. They're going to come up pretty quickly. They have a pretty quick germination time. So yeah, get them in, because if you don't, you're not going to get a bloom. That's the problem. If you wait too long with sweet peas, it gets too hot too quick, and then you don't get those pretty blooms that you like that smell so good. So yeah, get them dropped. It's time.
It is time. Yeah, that's the problem I had. The only time I tried to grow them was too late. And they started to bloom, and then they just shriveled away.
I don't like the heat.
They don't like the heat.
And it got hot quick last year. It was a bad year last year for sweet peas probably. This year is going to be better. I'm optimistic.
Huh, I don't even remember last year. Strange. Clematis. Do the vines need to be cut back before they leaf out, or just let them be? I know somebody has some clematis that's leafing out like crazy right now.
This guy.
Yeah, this guy right here.
And that's a great question, because there's a couple different pruning strategies for clematis. It kind of depends on which one we're talking about. Some like to keep their stems up and leaf back out from those stems. Some like sweet autumn clematis. If you're growing that's a fall blooming clematis that blooms white and very fragrant. Somewhat invasive, if you will. It really can like reseed everywhere. If you're growing that one, I've recommended and talked to a lot of people about just clear cutting that to the dirt and let it just regrow from the roots, because it is so vigorous that it kind of takes over. So it's almost better to just chop it and let it regrow. I grow Jackmanii, which is the purple blooming variety that is an excellent cultivar, been around forever. And I leave the stems up, but I do give them a haircut. So I will top them a little bit, bring them down back into check a little bit, about 3 to 4 feet tall, and then let them bloom, let them re-leaf from their stems. So there you go. That's what I got.
Well, that was a fantastic response. Should I start my zinnias inside? I never do. I find that they're a really hardy plant and they get really, really heavy. And I have started them inside before, and those plant stems didn't seem to be as strong as the ones I started straight in the ground. They're also a super warm weather flowering annual here in Middle Tennessee. So I think they're just going to do a lot better straight in the ground, unless anyone thinks anything
You're
different.
exactly
in this
right.
And that's
Throw 'em
true
on the
not
dirt.
only with zinnias, but almost anything. If you're starting them indoors, most people really have difficulty growing them with enough light, yet with cool enough temperatures to keep them from getting these weak and thin and flimsy stems on them. So
It takes a lot of work.
it takes a lot of work, and you're probably better off. I mean, nature kind of intended for them to be planted into the ground. So if you can do it that way, it's really a lot better.
way
You can
better.
move them in and out if you're not opposed to that, which does the job just as well. And you'll gain a little growth, and you won't sacrifice any strength of the stem, because you're getting them out in the cooler temperatures and the bright light and you'll be able to protect them when the weather is cold. But it does require more effort. So consider that, or just wait and do them outside all at once.
Yes, that's the way to do it.
I love that flower. I know there's at least one person in this room that is not a fan, but they attract a lot of butterflies, and mine reseed every year. So some of the beds where I've had zinnias growing in the past, I actually don't have to plant seeds because those, when I deadhead them, I just let them drop off. And then they go wild. So another reason to not really start them inside. I have them growing all over my garden beds, and I absolutely love it. Mm-hmm. They're so easy.
They are easy.
And beautiful.
Just, wait till it gets warm. Just throw them on the dirt. They're coming up.
That's right. They're going to come on up. Mm-hmm. Best full sun perennial flowers that don't need as much water for my front yard.
All right. Mm-hmm. Full sun perennial flowers. Echinacea comes to mind.
That one is a great one.
I mean, there's a million varieties of that now, all different colors. Super drought resistant, easy to grow. They'll spread as well, just like zinnias. What else we got? There's natives, plenty of natives that are pretty drought tolerant. Joe Pye weed comes to mind. There's a ton. There's a lot of perennials. I mean, most of our perennials that we sell here are somewhat native here, if not truly native. So I mean, they're fine living in the woods or living in a field without anybody watering them or anything. So. Plants are a lot tougher than you think they are, and perennials are no exception. They're some of the toughest plants.
They're so tough. I have a lot of blanket flower.
Oh, yeah.
That seems to be pretty drought resistant. Rudbeckia, there's a lot of varieties that are perennial here.
Black-eyed Susan, she's talking about. Yeah,
I love that plant.
That spreads and takes over without doing anything.
Again, another one I love.
And another one of the plants that really is not thought of so much as a flowering perennial, but is super easy to grow. If you put it in a container, you don't have to do anything to it ever, including water. Is autumn joy sedum.
Oh yeah.
They're the most maintenance free thing you can put. If you can't grow anything, get you some containers and put autumn joy sedum in there, and then don't do anything to them ever.
Leave them alone.
Just leave them alone.
Yep.
You got to leave them alone. If you do too much to them, you're going to kill them.
You're going to kill them.
For rotting them out.
I like to cut the old stems off in the spring.
Well, yeah. Let them regrow from the root.
Yeah, and let them sun up a little bit.
But you don't even have to do that.
You don't have to. No. You know what I saw? There's a house I pass going home every day that uses autumn joy sedum as their front border to their whole bed, like right next to their sidewalk. It is stunning. Really, really good idea.
The hell strip, as it were.
Oh, there you go.
You know what would go well with that? Just while we're on this topic, what I would say my favorite flowering perennial is here. You wouldn't think about that. Prickly pear. It has a gorgeous yellow or red, sometimes magenta bloom. It fruits, and you never, ever have to do anything to it, and it stays green through the winter.
But and you don't have to tell people to don't walk in your flower bed.
No. That's right.
They intuitively know.
What were you saying?
I was wondering, do you think prickly pear's dead this year?
No, not the really hardy variety that you see growing around here. Now, I know somebody put some in a pot that was the thornless type that might have died.
Might have.
It's dead. It is dead. They're
so mad about it.
It's mush. It's absolute mush. I didn't even think to bring those in during the freeze. Why? I don't know. I mean, they were my front container pots. They were like my Christmas pots. I put a lot of effort into this.
They did. They looked great during Christmas, though. They were just a temporary.
Now they're dead.
So sorry I brought it up. But prickly pear is great. So if you don't want to have to do it, if you don't really want to do anything, and you want to keep children and pets out of your garden bed, this is a great option. And again, they fruit. Mine do every year. I brought a bunch into the nursery last summer.
Miriam wants to know, how do you propagate the autumn joy sedum?
Hey, Miriam.
Ooh. Good morning, Miriam.
Good morning.
Miriam.
Mm-hmm.
Autumn joy, I think you can just take cuttings from just fine, or you could do root divisions. So they kind of clump out as perennials do. Typically, they some really spread from seed and such. Others just kind of clump bigger every year, if you will. So if you can if you can take a shovel and kind of chop one of the edges and get some of that root and get some of that some of the buds from the topmost part of the plant, if you can get a chunk of that, that's how you can kind of separate autumn joy to move it around the yard wherever you want to use it.
And if you're going to transplant those, maybe you want to put them in pots for a while.
What would
you want to use Earth Mix garden products?
Absolutely.
That's my attempt at a segue. Anyway,
it was great.
Quite well.
Earth Mix Garden Products gives you a complete line of organically produced soils and amendments available right here in Middle Tennessee and throughout Kentucky, even into southern Indiana and Ohio. And what you get with Earth Mix is you get the best of everything that Mother Nature offers without any chemical additives. It's boosted with endo and ecto mycorrhiza fungi, humic acid, and highest available organic content that can possibly be produced. Earth Mix Garden products really makes your soil more viable, and your plants will respond in kind. You'll really get a lot of excellent growth out of it, and you don't have to add any fertilizer for probably at least the first month to 6 weeks after using it.
Right.
And it doesn't matter which product that you're talking about, whether it's a Earth Mix Proganics I, which Caroline would recommend, and for greenhouse use, indoor. Proganics O if you're doing outdoor container gardening, or just garden mix for, guess what? Your garden. There is a complete line of products, including Earth Mix Landscape, which if you guessed right, that's for landscape plants for preparing the soil. And the secret ingredient in a great many of the Earth Mix products is supernatural. That is the organic compost that is produced, that is a standalone product. It also is one of the primary components of several of the other products down the stream. So no matter which one you choose, you're going to get a product that's going to give you the best results and is not going to involve any chemicals whatsoever. So if you're looking for Earth Mix, hey, you're probably going to see some billboards around town, and Tyler's been working on that. So if you see those around town, make sure you support all the folks who are the professionals who are kind enough to sell the Earth Mix brand. And if you go to the Find Earth Mix tab at earthmix.net, you see there's a number of different companies there. You can zoom in on any one of them. They'll also will tell you which products that they carry, or you can just type in your address here on the bar and it'll give you turn-by-turn directions to the location nearest you. So just remember this: success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products. And we appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that and to help you be assured of having success in your gardening efforts.
Yeah, I'm doing a custom mix to start my seeds with, David.
Really? What are you doing?
I did a 50-50 mix of Proganics I with Sustain.
Well,
Yes, I did.
Nice.
That is
Okay.
it's a good mix.
So
proud of you.
And I have proof it works. So if we can get that picture up here at some point in time.
Yeah. Let
But-
me
let me-
cut over
oh.
here.
Hi,
and
everyone.
and then do my magic little here. There it is.
As a matter of fact,
Wow.
so they're doing so well. I'm gonna have to get some more peat pots because you notice we started them in. I've got dill, basil, and cucumbers started. So I'm gonna have to get some more peat pots while I'm here today.
Look at that dirt.
Look at that dirt. Okay.
Looks good. Your seedlings look good too.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my $20 lights seem to be working well.
They
So
are
Yeah.
doing their job. You know what I did see in my garden the other day?
what'd you see in your
I
garden?
planted mustard greens probably 5 days ago, and they're already popping up.
Wow.
It's the only one so far, but I was very excited to see them.
Hey, I've got lettuce up. My kids helped me do
Did
it.
Yep.
And God bless my kids. I love them more than anything. But they helped me sow seeds, and I've got
You got them over here, and you got them over
a
there.
chunk here of about 100, 20 over here, all in a grouping. Nothing is uniform, and if you know me at all, you know that I am very uniform with my plantings.
We've seen your boxwoods.
Oh,
You know.
and the seeds are not uniform, but that's okay. Ivy Joe, Marley, love y'all. Thanks for helping.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Well,
have
in
those.
all fairness to Austin, now he's had to play a much larger role in parenting these last couple of months. Due to his lovely bride, she blew her knee out. She had to have
Extensive knee
surgery,
surgery, yes. So,
Ugh.
hey, she's on the mend though now. She's as tough as it gets. She's back.
She's
baby.
married to
She is,
you.
she's
That's
getting around.
That's obvious.
Yeah.
Oh,
We got a snap
Props to
for that
Jill.
one. Yeah, get it, Jill.
Shout out Jilly, love you. Hope
Hey.
you're watching.
real quick, our YouTube viewers, this will be available as a whole
program.
broadcast. It looks like the first 6 minutes we got you there, but then we cut out from there. So rest assured, we will stitch it back together and put it up later for later viewing. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
Yep.
It
We've had
happens.
some issues, and of course, there have been no shortage of them due to the weather yesterday. And that's just what we're going to blame it on because
Deserves all of it.
we don't have anything better. And that's probably what it actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
the weather.
Hey, David.
Complete power outages yesterday. Yes, Josh.
Alita, an at-homie from McMinnville, says we need to send the salesman for Earth Mix down there to the garden centers in McMinnville, Tennessee. Cause she can, or she can, use those turn-by-turn instructions. Because, I know a place that's got it.
Well, Murfreesboro is pretty close to McMinnville. Martin's
is good.
Or South Branch.
South Branch is even
great
closer to
sellers
McMinnville.
of the products right there in Murfreesboro. So
Hey, we got a question on the Bates
Sure.
page. Samara says, my huge weeping cherry is all flowered out, but for some reason, all the blooms are white this year, and it is always pink. Is it deficient in something?
No. No.
No?
Doesn't sound.
Wish y'all could see Austin's face. There it is.
I'm confused by this. Very confused. I mean, a lot of cherries have pink buds and then they open to a white bloom. But I don't know why
not
it would.
unusual.
Very unusual. Yeah, I don't know if it. Sometimes, y'all, too, if you have a pink. So all these plants are grafted. So it's possible that you're getting a stem that came up from below the graft that's a different plant altogether that's blooming, or it looks like a different plant anyway. That could be the case. That happens a fair amount. But I don't know why it would change color just this season. It doesn't make sense to me. I'd love to see pictures. If you could send some.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Send those to info@batesnursery.com.
Yeah, I want to
Or
see this, and I'm going
post
to give
them
you
in
a
the
call.
comments. Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow. You're getting a phone call. Get ready.
I love giving phone calls.
Getting
People
called
send
to the
emails of
principal's
pictures and plants and stuff, and I'm like, I can't email this back. There's way too much. I need to talk. So if you ever email us with pictures, you're probably getting a call from me, so get ready.
Yeah. You are on the phone a lot.
Yeah.
In the office doing business calls. Okay, let's talk about Rose of Sharon.
Yes.
Is it too late to prune her?
To prune Rose of Sharon? No, it's not too late. Rose of Sharon's one of the last ones to kind of open up. So it's kind of similar to crepe myrtle or like vitex or something. It's one of those later to push plants. So they're still truly dormant right now. As long as yours doesn't have leaves, even if it did have leaves, you could cut it. Let's be honest. Rose of Sharon's
they flower on new wood.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, you want to go ahead and get that thing pruned up now. And it'll leaf out where you want it to, and then free bloom in the late summertime with 1,000,000 blooms, because that's what they do. Technically
gorgeous.
a hibiscus.
Yep.
Or lobiscus.
Low biscus,
Low
definitely
biscus,
a
yeah.
low biscus.
Yeah.
Yep. You're right, Josh.
Okay.
Too early to put herbs out, right? Depends. Depends on what herbs you're talking about.
Certainly does. You could what could we put out right now?
I planted parsley seeds the other day. Those are not up yet, but I bet they will be this week.
That's filler. That's not an herb.
Parsley is an herb, Josh.
No, it's not.
It's a perennial herb, actually.
It's filler.
Josh, don't make me come over there.
I don't like
make
parsley
me
much
step out.
either, but it is a good plant. And
I love parsley.
It's great to plant
Cilantro.
parsley. Cilantro, hey,
Yes.
I did
good
plant that
point,
too.
Josh. Get cilantro in early. You've got to. It bolts so quick here in Middle Tennessee.
Yep.
We've got some cilantro right now. You could set it out. Now, if we're going to have temperatures below 32, cover it up for the night. But other than that, cilantro can take it pretty chilly, and we need to get them out quick. Avoid things like basil right now, though. It's still a little early for that.
That's a heat lover.
Thyme is good.
Time. A lot of herbs are good right now.
Yeah,
Sage is
thyme
good. I mean, I had sage up all winter.
I had time
Yeah,
to made it
sages.
through the winter.
Would you count?
Thyme's perennial.
Yeah.
Would you count creeping thyme in that as well? Because some people are asking about planting that.
Yeah, creeping thyme's the same. I mean,
Okay.
Thyme's, it's a very hardy plant. Like I said, it's typically perennial here. Sometimes even like evergreen perennial. Not all the time, but some mild winters, it'll stay up. Doesn't look great. But yeah, there's a lot of herbs to plant right now.
Yeah, there's a ton. Come see us. Seeds
got some.
and starts. We got it all.
Parsley.
All right. When is the best? Stop talking about parsley. I love it.
Samara added, by the way, the tree is 30 years old.
Oh.
Oh,
That cherry.
30 years old.
you have
Okay.
stumped Austin.
I've gotta see
and
this.
his pretty face
I've got to see this.
And his eyes.
and his eyes.
God. My eyes need to see this cherry. That's all I care about. Send some pics.
Another
Samara.
quick question here on the Bates page. I'd like to have or plant Dutch pipe vine. It's a little out of our zone. Anything in our zone and native to help bring out the butterflies.
So a ton of things to plant to help out the butterflies, like a ton of things for around here. But yeah, the old Dutch pipe, I've seen that in magazines. I've never seen it here. I mean, you can certainly grow it in a pot, I'm sure, and just make sure you store it in your garage or something over the winter to keep it. I guess it needs it warmer, probably. That would be my guess. I don't know much about this plant, to be honest with you.
I don't
Like
either.
I said, I've read about it years ago, and I've seen it in those plant magazines that I get every year, every spring. I'm sure a lot of y'all do too. But yeah, it's not one that's like truly hardy around here. But we could go on and on and on about plants that are great for butterflies here. We've got them.
Good. What about native pipe vine that hosts the pipe vine swallowtail?
I don't know about that, Tyler.
Okay.
Yeah, Tyler.
That's how.
I don't know what that
Come on,
looks like.
Tyler.
Right?
That's a Joy thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Joy's here. She's our perennial queen.
Joy knows all about natives, perennials, you name it.
We'll run it by her and get back to you.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about cactus. What's the best time to put cactus outside? At least after Mother's Day. So unless you want to be moving that in and out, I mean, you could put it out when the weather's warm and then take it in and out of the house. I don't suggest that. I sometimes wait until the beginning of June to start putting my cacti outside, my like super tropical tender cactus that, if it dips into the high 30s, we'll get some damage. If it freezes, we'll immediately kill it. So you've got a few more months until it's going to be time to put that out. So
Think about it. Where does cactus live?
In the desert.
It likes it hot.
It likes it hot.
We don't need to put it out and just test it. There's no reason.
There's
Just
no
wait.
reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I do put out plants to test them and see what happens, but
But that's an experiment thing. If we actually want to
It
keep them and just wait. It's not hot enough yet for cactus.
no, it's not. But it's hot enough in your homes. All right, so we're going to move on to more landscaping questions. We got some flowering questions out of the way. What do you like for the health strip? Bonus points for natives. Now, there's a second part to this question. We also had to Google what health strip meant, and that is the space between your sidewalk and the road. So that small strip that gets heated in the summer, especially if it's in full sun, apparently is called the health strip. There are a lot of Magnolia Jane Magnolias on Shelby Avenue in health strips. What are your thoughts on that? So thoughts on Jane Magnolia and those strips and natives that would be good to grow there.
Okay. Jane Magnolias can definitely live there. Obviously, they're not necessarily native. I think Caroline made a good point earlier about a native that could live in that hell strip. What is it?
Prickly pear.
Prickly
Prickly
pear.
Mm-hmm.
That would be awesome right up front.
Now let's be your health strip. If you live in a subdivision that happens to have an HOA, you might want to ask what you can plant in your health strip.
They may not be happy with
And I
prickly
think
pear.
That's
I
a
think
good
most
point.
HOAs refer to it as a purgatory strip, not a hell strip. I'm thinking. I don't know.
A bunch of hoas.
You know what else would work out there would be something like Itea, sweet spire. Like that's such an easy plant to grow. It forms suckers too, so it'll make this like thicket. So you'd have this really like thick, wall of plant that has great fall color, blooms in the late spring, really glossy foliage, pretty stems over the winter. It could be a good plant for that spot.
It's a great area to plant things that might be invasive in other spots.
It's a good
Oh,
point.
that's
Because
a
you've got this
fantastic point.
natural confinement
Barrier.
on both sides of it. Even like purple leaf winter creeper, which can adapt to full shade or full sun. You could control it very easily where you've got hard surfaces on both sides.
How about that muley grass?
Yeah.
Well, a bunch of it.
In those places, sometimes water could pool and that would affect it.
I
I just
do
think they
think those.
get roasted.
Yeah.
They just get
Yeah.
roasted.
And I do think though some grasses like the blue stems or the switch grasses, I think some of those could work for up front in the hell
Yeah.
strip as well. They would be fine.
Oh yeah, that would look good in a hell strip. Hell strip of grasses coming at you. All right, landscaping for the first time this year. Best beginner shrub for front of house in flower bed. I know it. Austin's going to say boxwood.
Boxwood.
Boxwood's pretty low maintenance. When people come at me with low maintenance shrubs, boxwood certainly is up there. Something that's extremely hardy would be something like a dense yew, YEWU. It's a very, very easy plant to get started with.
They grow a little crazy though, don't they?
They can. You kind of have to keep them in check.
Yeah,
when
they're poisonous.
Their berries are poisoned. Well, their foliage is too, actually. Yeah, good point. They are. But
Not
I
to
mean,
shoot.
Actually,
Not gonna be
all
eating
parts
them.
are. If
Yeah,
you chew
they
on
are.
the roots, It'll make you sick.
Don't eat your yews, but they do live really well.
They do. Maybe you want poisonous plants there.
Maybe. Who knows?
I don't know.
There's a lot of poisonous plants. So
yeah.
Hemlock are poisonous. You know, we use there's a lot of plants in the landscape that are poisonous. Just don't recommend chewing on your landscape.
Don't plant the venomous ones either.
That's right.
No.
And, there's other options too. I'd prefer you to come out and let's chat. Let's walk around the nursery and let me show you some options you can use for a beginner. I love talking to beginners that have never done it before. So come out, we'll start from ground zero and we will get you to where you need to be. Show me pictures of your spot so I can help you so we can actually design something, not just kind of throw a bush here or there. And we'll get you something you need.
Perfect. Best options for a small evergreen garden. That's a broad.
That's very broad.
Broad question there.
A small evergreen
Because
garden.
I would say if it was shade, heuchera, that stays up through the winter for me for the most part.
It does.
But
there's a number of
then
dwarf
there's-
conifers.
Hugos.
Mugo pines, definitely.
Ooh, and we got some tiny ones in the other day.
We got some tiny little cryptomeria that are kind of cool. You don't see those very often. I know I've talked about this before, but I think about a little evergreen garden as like little individualized plantings of like specimen type plants. So come up next week out here and you will see our best selection of conifers that you're going to see all year. We're supposed to have our truck from Isley, which is out of the West Coast in Oregon, come hopefully on Monday. And we'll try to get that all unloaded for you. That takes a long time, so bear with us. It's a very large truck with a whole lot of plants.
And it always has one or two of those gems that you're not going to see anywhere else.
It's
It
an
certainly
exciting day.
Yeah. So, about mid next week, come out and see us, and you'll see we can help you with an evergreen garden for sure.
And you know how you'll know that we've gotten that truck in?
How's
Well,
that?
you can go over to batesnursery.com. That's right. You can go to batesnursery.com and click on the little spyglass there. That's a little search window, and you can type in what you're looking for. And you can see not only things that we have just received, but you can see everything we have on hand. And not only can you look at those things online, you can also purchase those things. And if you want to schedule delivery, you can even do that online. So all those things are available at batesnursery.com. We invite you to check out our extensive selection. Of course, we would love to have you come out and see us. And those, a big part of horticulture and the love of plants is that tactile and visual experience that you get to have by touching and looking, but not putting them in your mouth, though, Josh. I don't know of anyone, although taxus are poisonous, I don't know of anyone who's even been mildly sick as a result of having bought taxus because nobody chews on them.
No.
And I'm not going to recommend anybody start.
No.
Now, we like to keep you informed of what all is going on. One thing that's happening starting today is that we're beginning the expansion of our hours. We've been closing at 2 on Saturdays. We're going to now stay open until 4 today. 1 week from tomorrow, we begin opening on Sundays. That's not tomorrow. That's 1 week from tomorrow. So we'll talk about that more next week. I do have a newsletter that I put out weekly. And if you go to batesnursery.com, you'll see the new blog post right there, predominantly displayed, and you can see that this week's was entitled On to March. So I talk about a number of things about the time of year, and there's also links in there, including a link on the little clip that Austin put together this week along with Tyler about the new growth on his Blue Atlas Cedar and other things. So make sure you check that out. And of course, we'd love to if you would like, we would love to have you sign up to receive the newsletter. And you can just scroll down the main page there right where it says newsletter and put your name and your email address. And you have to click on the box that says, I agree to be emailed. See,
one a week.
Email newsletter.
A week.
If you don't agree to it,
you're not getting it.
You won't get emailed.
It publishes weekly, but it is very strong. Man, I tell you, it's a great read every week.
One of my favorite things to hear from folks is how much they enjoy reading my monthly newsletter. I said, well, thank you, but it comes out every week.
Yes.
So anyway, check that out. you've got a lot of things going on around the house. Obviously, everyone has concerns about one plant or another around their landscape that has been damaged over the winter. We've already seen some photographs today as evidence of new growth beginning to come back out. So continue to monitor that. Take photos of your plants, of your areas that you're working on. It's very important if you have questions about specific plants to not just take photos at a distance, but to take them up close. And you can, if you remember on those laurel pictures that Tyler put up, the green buds are just barely starting to show. So that's going to progressively become more and more evident every day as things begin to push out. We want to help you save the plants that you've got, and a great many things, if not most of them, will be able to. If in fact it works out that it's not, we want to be here to help you make the right choice and get the best plants in the right place the first time, because that's the way we do it at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. So bring photographs on your tablet or your phone, and one of our landscape professionals will help you look through all of that and get a plan put together for you that'll help you on your way to having gardening success. Again, we're open from 9 until 4 Monday through Saturday. Give us another week and we'll also be open on Sundays. That's starting March the 12th, I believe is what
Sunday
that date is.
Sunday the 12th.
So, I think I've about run out of things to say. I better shut up.
I think
now.
we should.
Bates Nursery and Garden Center, we've been beautifying Nashville since 1932, our 91st year of business. We appreciate the opportunity to do business in this fine city of Nashville.
David Bates, look to your right. What is that right there front and center?
Hard for me to tell exactly.
That is forsythia and quince.
Quince.
Oh, you talk about, you want me to look hard right all the way back. I couldn't see back there. Yeah, I thought you were wanting me to look in front of me.
Gorgeous flowering.
Both of which
shrubs.
are blooming right now.
Yeah,
I've had eye
Absolutely
issues, Josh.
stunning.
I'm still having eye issues.
Oh, okay.
And you know what's fun is we have a question about a flowering quince. So let's get to that.
Get it?
Okay.
Can I transplant a flowering quince that's too close to our house?
You certainly can. I wouldn't necessarily do it now. We probably should have done that during dormancy, is when we typically like to move things. Now, quince is extremely tough. It's a very hardy plant. So, I mean, if you just have to, you can do it. But there's a lot of energy being, used up by that plant to go into its flower mode, which it's in right now. So maybe wait until it quits blooming and then try to transplant it. But, yeah, quince is really hardy. It'll be fine either way.
Do they need a lot of sun?
They prefer it, yes.
Okay.
Now, they're tolerant of some shade as well, but they do prefer full sun to get you the best, flower show.
Okay.
All right.
And there are a lot of new cultivars of quince that have been developed over the last several years. So it's not just the old kind of the rosy red color that was the original.
This one's more orange.
There are true reds and there are white ones. And so, there's a lot more variety than there once was.
For those of us that remember silver dollars, those blooms on the ones here in the studio are every bit as big as a silver dollar. And I thought they were smaller. For whatever reason, I was wrong.
You were wrong.
I was wrong.
They're pretty big.
We're all wrong sometimes, Josh.
Sometimes.
It's okay.
What's the pink
Doesn't
stuff
make you a
that's
bad
poking
person.
up in front of you guys over there?
Right here?
Yes.
Oh, yours? Tell them.
Well, there's two pinks. So we've got heuchera and geranium.
The tall stuff.
This stuff
tall
right
stuff,
here.
yeah.
So that's heuchera flowering. Usually it's
Oh.
known for its foliage, so I'll pick it up right down there. But they do flower. This is one of my favorite shade perennials.
Yes.
They really look like a kind of fairy plant or something.
Very
I
cottagey.
grow a lot.
Yes.
Yes. I'm a fan of the cottage style garden.
And don't let these plants fool you. They're not going to be blooming right now in your landscape by any
Right.
means. These have been forced in a greenhouse and they're already up and blooming, but you will not see that for a little while in the landscape.
So you'll have some time. But yeah, great plant, great for shade. Okay, planting a burlap root tree, should the wire and rope around trunk flare and burlap be removed?
This is an excellent question
It really
because we
is.
get this a lot. We don't sell a ton of balled and burlap plants, but we do sell some just because the availability. That's, if we want bigger stuff, they typically come that way. And yes, if you could take off the wire basket, it's not easy to do. It's kind of hard to do. But if you can remove the wire basket, that would be good. But do not remove the burlap. Keep that intact as well as you can. Plant the plant like you would, backfill with your soil like you're going to do. And then at the end of it, you do want to remove any string or wire or anything that is around the main trunk of that plant. Absolutely. You got to peel that back. You can even take off, like you can take a knife and where the root ball sits on top, where the burlap is on top, you can kind of cut that all the way off the top. After you plant it. So we just want to make sure we don't have any lines that are going to be girdling that stem of the main, of the main stem of that plant. So definitely cut that off and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I might take a mild exception to removing the wire basket.
You don't have to. You definitely don't have to.
If it's a really firm root ball, then I have no issue with it. If you have a pair of small bolt cutters where you can snip the wire straight down, it'll really come off pretty easily. However, if it's on a plant, say like an arborvitae or a juniper, they're never going to have roots that are big enough where it's going to constrict it anyway at all, ever, at any point in their life. So you've got a 4x4 inch opening. It just can't happen. If you want to cut off that's on top of the ground, if you just don't ever want to see it, you can do that, certainly. Right.
Yeah.
But you're right. A ton of landscapers don't take the metal thing off of it. You don't have to do that. It's just, if you want to, you can.
I wouldn't want it in my ground if the tree died and then
you forget about it.
And then
you'll forget about it.
Yeah.
120 years from now, somebody
couple comments on Facebook. Risha, we do not know if the Lawn and Garden Show is pet friendly. Don't know for 100% certain, but I would imagine you could probably give them a shout.
But we know for sure they're not pet hostile.
No, they're not.
No.
Jerry on YouTube is asking about the winterburn laurels, how far back to cut them. Jerry, if our broadcast, if you didn't catch our earlier broadcast, it was cut off on YouTube. We did show some new growth emerging on laurels, both from the roots and from stems. So we advise you to hold out just yet, but
yeah.
And Tyler will perform magic after the program goes off the air and put it all back together.
That's why he's the showrunner and executive producer.
When you view it later, it'll all be seamless.
Yes, we got some photographic evidence, and then once you see that new growth coming out, then that will determine where you can trim back if it's still looking bare on top.
Snapdragons are among the most colorful, eye-popping flowers to add to a landscape. Which cultivars do you recommend that will put on the best show? This is from Jack Gill. Snapdragons.
Oh, God. Individual cultivars of snapdragons. There's a bunch. I mean,
don't they usually come in a mix? Don't you?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's usually like mixed flats of them. Yeah. I don't even know that they specify cultivars.
I don't know what it is, but there is one that looks kind of like a tie-dye mix of colors on the flowers, and I really like that one. And
I just hate it when my eyes pop out when I'm looking at them.
Yeah.
That's really uncomfortable.
You're just sensitive about your ocular globes.
You really can't look at a
Rightfully
snapdragon
so,
and not like it, though. I mean,
You can't. I love snapdragons, and you can make them talk. So it's pretty exciting. It's a win-win. You can squeeze the back of the flower, and then you get your mouth behind it and make a noise, and it looks
You
like.
can do your little ventriloquist thing.
That's right. How did you not know that, Josh? Don't worry. I'll make a video when we get the snapdragons in. Okay, we have a couple limelight questions that I've bundled into one. They want to know, is it too late to have pruned their limelights, and should they fertilize?
You can fertilize if you want. It never is a bad idea to fertilize in the spring, although limelights are extremely vigorous and tough without fertilizing them. You don't really even have to do anything. And when it comes to pruning, I doubt they've started leafing out yet, but if you're in the city a little bit warm, you might have seen them already leafing out. Now, don't worry so much about this. If you haven't got the pruning done, get out there and do it today, because limelights definitely need to be pruned or they really get out of hand on you. So yeah, if you haven't done it yet, get out there and do it.
Get out there and do it. Yeah, mine are cracking now. So
they are starting to just crack. They're doing that here at the nursery. They're one of the last to of the hydrangeas anyway, to kind of start pushing. And they're starting to do it. So you need to get it done.
I pruned mine about a month ago. So we have a couple questions about screening, gas meters, HVAC systems. So about lower growing evergreens that aren't going to get too big and take over, but are going to offer that privacy screen to cover up unsightly things as a homeowner.
I had this question like a number of times this week of screening off AC units. One of my go-tos is probably Autoluke and Laurel, even though I know, the Laurels took a shot this year. But in my lifetime, they've never taken a hit like that before. So, it's still a fine plant to use. And it grows fairly quickly. It's got a wide habit about it. It doesn't get crazy tall, but it does get wide. So it offers a really good amount of coverage on that ugly AC unit that you want to cover up. It's a good one for that.
One thing you do want to keep in mind from the air conditioning side of it is that you don't want to plant anything that's going to get foliage over into the unit itself. That needs to be able to breathe. You need to plant something that you can keep sheared away. You ought to keep at least a foot of clear air all the way around it at all times. So preferably more like a foot and a half. They do need that air to be able to function properly. And with an ever increasing use of heat exchanger type of units, they get used not only in the summer for air conditioning, they get used in the winter for heating. So, there you go.
Yeah. Also, too, if anybody ever needs to work on your AC unit, they need to be able to get to it.
Oh, that's a good point.
So plant it a little bit further away.
I did plant some stuff in front of the propane tanks in my house, and that was a mistake, and I had to move them.
Just paint them like a cow. Just paint them like a cow.
I could do that. All right, we got a Japanese maple question. Pruning dwarf Japanese maple, when and how?
Once again, during dormancy. So whenever they're dormant, which they still are at the moment, but they're getting juiced up, y'all. They're wanting to send out leaves here. And I know here at the nursery, you got a lot of the green leaf varieties, and really all of them are really starting to kind of leaf out. So we need to trim those up when they're dormant, when they don't have leaves over the wintertime. And don't do too much trimming on them.
No.
Maples really look good if you leave them.
Why would you want to trim?
Yeah, leave it natural if you can. Now, if you plant it in a bad spot and it's like gotten too big and it's into your sidewalk or whatever, and you need to prune it because of those reasons, then certainly you can prune it. But try your best not to. They look really nice when you just leave them natural.
That just means that you didn't get the right cultivar in the right spot, or you planted it too close.
Right.
That's right. It happens a lot.
Those are mistakes that you should avoid.
Live and learn.
Brenda on the Bates page asking if we have arborvitae. Boy,
do they have arborvitae.
If we didn't have arborvitae, we'd have to shut the gate.
That's right. We'd have to shut it down.
Yeah.
All right. We have one final question, which other than the Austin's pretty question, I'd say this is a great question. So we're ending on a strong note. Are you tired of people asking if their plants are dead? So we can do a wrap up about dead plants. We realize that everybody is so concerned about these plants that add life and color and screens to your, landscape.
Except Bradford pear trees.
Except Bradford pear.
Hey, Josh, you're probably really happy about
everywhere.
Bradford pear got whacked yesterday.
Totally whacked.
That wind just wrecked them. That wind wrecked a lot of things.
As a reminder, the at-home show is the
Rectum is a appropriate word.
I heard it.
Because David Bates, what do they smell like?
Stop.
Well, they smell like decaying matter of some sort.
Oh,
Josh, it's a family show.
The at-home show is the source. David Bates and I are the charter and founding members of the Bradford Pear Eradication Society. It predates this edition of the at-home show. It goes back to the original Saturday morning show that we were a part of. The Bradford Pear Eradication Society is easy to join. It doesn't cost anything. All you have to do is just swear.
Hey, Josh, I believe we actually have some members now who were former SOBs.
SOBs. Okay.
Yes.
Now there's still a bunch of those SOBs.
Well, there
there
were some of those Save Our Bradford people out there. But
we have cells all over the country and parts of the world. So join. It's easy. All you got to do, just don't do them. Don't do them ever. All right. The music means that we're done with this edition. We got a bunch of questions answered this morning. Hey, watch out for the weekend when the Snapchat comes out or whatever it is where we ask the question and some of these other things, so you can get in here and participate. YouTube viewers, we're going to have a full version and be edited and put together with shots of Austin and his beautiful eyes, and everything will be there. But next Saturday morning, we're going to come back to the Green Room Studio for you.
Right here.
Yeah. Hey, if you lost something in the storm, we're sorry about that. But come out to the nursery. You might find something else to replace it with.
It could have blown over here.
Could have. All righty, folks. We'll see you next Saturday morning. See ya.